question was how to do better time management during these times of Corona crisis. So I gave it a lot of thoughts and started to immediately realize the difference between the times of normality where you manage your time and times of crisis when you manage your time. And I realized it's not the same. So I will give you a couple of points which then helps you to create that differentiation and be able to better deal with that. And it's interesting that it's, again, emotionalizes it and humanizes it also in a very strong way. The one thing came to my mind as I started to think about it is, wait a minute, time management is actually not really about the time itself. That's the interesting part. It's about the task. It's about everything which you need time for. So basically, if you are in the normal, say, like a not crisis situation, why would you want to do a time management? Ask yourself. And then mostly you probably end up saying because you want to raise your productivity. What else would be the reason? If you're leading a team and you time manage them, or you are concerned about how much time they use for what, it ends up more or less to be about productivity. But if you look at the times of crisis and ask yourself the question, then suddenly there are multi-layers. You are now in a situation where you have different tasks at the same time happening, and you have two companies at the same time you're running. I call it work team and family team. So you're at home, you have some interaction with whoever. You have different problems than the normality. If you have a family, and if you're, let's say you're the macho guy who is always going to work, and you had no idea how your wife is running the business at home with children and cooking and cleaning and everything, and now you're there the entire day, and best case scenario, if you don't want to do the job you've been never doing before, you're hiding yourself behind, I have work to do. Or let's say you're the type of guy, you're young, you were solo, you were alone, and you never had to spend that many hours alone at home because you were at work and you were interacting with other people. And now you miss it, and you don't know how to do what with your time. And then other aspects, such as there are things happening at home which you would have not seen if you were working outside, and now you see them and you start realizing, oh, I need to thank my girlfriend or husband or wife for what she's doing. I never realized that this is all what she's doing. So there is, I guess you get the idea. There are components which you were not confronted with before. And now when you come to do your time management, it's not only about how do I do time management for my work to have a productivity reason or maintain, but how do I manage myself at all and my time? So this was one of the elements which came to my mind. So as I started to ask myself, okay, so if this is the new situation I have to deal with, what are the things I need to keep in the back of my head so that it helps me to approach easier? I came with a couple of things. Some of them I mentioned even last time to a few of you. I thought, okay, so good thing to relax. My mind is telling myself, I'm not alone. All of us are having this similar situation. That's a good part. Tick off the box. Then I thought, okay, what characteristics do I need most to be able to master such a situation like right now? And what immediately comes to my mind is I need to become more flexible. I need to become more patient. These two come into my head immediately. Patient because I'm encountering situations I was never involved with, dealing with my kids the entire day, doing all of the things which I was not doing, and maybe I don't like and whatever, or I'm not familiar to, I'm not comfortable with, all of that. So definitely patience is important, and flexibility, because I need to be adaptive right now, strongly. That was the two things came to my head immediately. What I wrote for myself was, so I started to ask myself, okay, these are common for everyone, but how can I know what is my specific? So I started to draw, I made a note for myself, and then I started to draw a map. I created some kind of galactical map for myself. I thought I put myself in a corner as a, depending on who you are and what your egos wishes you to be a planet, be the star, be the sun, be just a comet flying around. So be a part of universe, but whatever small or big part of that universe you are, centralize yourself and start creating circles and dots, big or small, around you, far or close to you, and visualize your galactic around you. Like, what is a galaxy around you? Who are the people outside your house where you remotely have to interact with, your team, your boss, people you run, and your closest circle, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, father, mother, boys, whatever you have. Create that dependency, because that is the environment you have to reflect and interact with, which will have the need of receiving some portion of your time within your full time you're going to manage. So here is no more the time of time management to optimize your working life. It's how you give time for everything which is happening to you to have the best of you in this situation. That's the major difference. And if you create that type of a map around you, it will help you to create an awareness about what is the list of people I need to integrate into my plan. I'm not alone. I can't be self-centric in that case. I have something around me. So that is the one tip I'm giving you. Then the other thing which came to my mind, which is an emotional aspect, and I thought that's really important, is compassion. When I usually put myself the hat on to be a team leader, and I'm looking at the time management, and I want to, no matter how kind I am or how target driven I am, but when I think about optimizing the output of my team, I'm probably looking at it from a different perspective, even if I personally be an empathetic or emotionally intelligent guy. But regardless of that, when I, in these times of crisis, start thinking about a team, so people outside I'm interacting with, the first thing came to my mind was compassion. I thought I need to constantly be aware and sympathize with people out there who possibly are feeling miserable, helpless, doomed, sad, upset, not balanced, lots of emotional hurdles they might have, challenges they might have, which I will have to consider when I work with them. So for any of you who leads a team or interact with a team, take in your head the worst case scenario that they might feel shitty today, because lots of things could cause that. And if you deal with that compassion with these people, you create that understanding for them. And if you show them that you have this understanding, you're already on a winning street. They trust you much more. They let you do with them what you want to do, because at least you understand them, or you have understanding for their situation and the outcome and everything else. So that was the one thing. I'm still on the track. I still believe, and while I'm even talking to you, I realize that, or I hope at least, that my thesis that at the current situation, time management is a lot more about task management and not time itself, is valid. So I'm looking at the dependencies around it. One of the things I came across was, okay, if I'm interacting with my people outside my horizon around me, like kind of outside my physical horizon. If I have a team to interact with outside, something which would be crucially important is to give them the far sight. We are so capsuled in where we are, and we have our meetings where we probably, out of mistake even, go and have the priority of ticking off the box of saying, we discussed about the tasks, so now go and do it. But because we are in this uncertain time right now, and we don't know what about tomorrow and what will happen tomorrow, it's good to have a strategy. And if we can have a vision about tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and next week and next month, that would be awesome. Because now I have a harbor to, row towards. I have a lighthouse. So plan for yourself. You're even, it's good to plan small in capsules, even every night for tomorrow. But envision a week, a month, and therefore give yourself the chance to be able to communicate with your people. The reason we are doing it this way and this way and this way today and tomorrow is that we want to be there together in a week's time. And that would help your people to have a sustainability, to have a target to work towards, and this will help them to manage better the tasks and the portions of time. Now, so this is the one thing. I hope I'm still making sense to you guys. I'm jumping back and forth because I was thinking about this to work with you guys yesterday, and I just came across any thesis or scenarios which I find interesting to encourage you to give it some thoughts. As I just said before, kind of map this galaxy of yourself. I made a note for myself, actually, so I can recommend that to you too. Just take a look at it. Is that when I do that, and when I have my work and my private life, and they are all overlapping, I would be automatically asking myself, so what am I doing? So if Marta is one of the key elements in my horizon, why is Marta there? What is my interrelation with her? Do I feed her with information or tasks, or do I just need to see her beautiful face every morning so that I'm encouraged to go through my day? So what do I want in that interaction? And if I list all of them, and that shows the list of everything I do today, is there anything missing? Question mark. I would like you to ask this question to yourself. Is something missing in your day? And at the same time, the next question, is something too much in my day? Fuck. On my list of the day, there are two things. It's actually bothering me. I don't need it for either doing my work or be satisfied personally. Why am I doing it? Why can I not park it aside and see what happens if I don't touch it? So get rid of things which are unnecessary and look for the missing links which could make you happier and balance you out, and add them in. If you start planning your day based on the list of the tasks expecting you to deal with, take care of my children, cook, answer my boss's email, do that, do this, and then you feel like kind of, oh my God, I miss in between of that 10 minutes. I realized a couple of days ago, even though this is going to be as a recording spread to some people who I might not know, I take the risk. 2 days ago, I realized, shit, I'm wearing the same t-shirt for, I don't know, the second day or a third day. I wasn't smelling bad, but I thought oh, I'm running video conferences with everyone many times a day. So there were a couple of people among them who would have said, wait a minute, Jam had this t-shirt 2 days ago. And I thought oh, do they think I was not even taking a shower? And then I looked at my face and I realized I was not even shaving. So all of that started to push me towards, look, because you don't have to go out right now, you didn't care of yourself. You didn't give yourself this 15 minutes in the morning to just do yourself that treatment and you're not shaving anyway. So it's just about making this little bit here is like 5 seconds. Come on, do it. Just for yourself to feel you did something for yourself. So, that might sound silly to you, but it's a little thing. And it was me thinking about myself, something I was missing during my day and something which needed a very small portion of time, but it made me aware of something very big. It made me think about the importance of not losing head and not losing sight of who I am and so on and so forth. So something very small, which made me philosophize a lot. So compensate what you're missing, get rid of the things which you think you can get rid of without damaging your planning. So then I started to think of something different. And so I realized something else. There are two things happening right now because of this.
I think Lapo has a question now.
Yes, please, Lapo. Sorry.
No. Go on. At the end, I will ask you something.
Tell me quickly.
That it comes in. Okay. No, actually, because maybe is a bit out of focus, but it came up on my mind. Like this is very interesting, and this is something that, fortunately or not, actually is gonna initially last for 10 more days, and I think like the period that is coming is even worse, because now we are kind of used to our comfort zone in our houses, and we in a way sort of became used to that. But then when we have to start again, I think this is going to be even harder, because you have to get used another time to a world that you don't know how it's going to be. And like I would ask you, like I don't know, some thinking or some advices about probably fear management, because when you go out and you start you don't know what you are supposed to do, because you can't do what you could do before, even at work. I mean, it changes a lot. So this is it came up on my mind, like it was
I think this is a very valid question, and it's worth doing this very small like detour. In the reality with you, Lapo, if I just don't go as a theory and take it practically, with a company like yours, 4 people, the first thing I would do if I were you, after the doors are open, if until today, in the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks, everything worked out well between you guys to do your work the way you wanted to do, why change it? So for you, you can even speak of a privilege. You had the chance to see how it is when you get up every morning and each of you spend 1.5 hours in the traffic of Rome to get from A to B, and you pollute the city and you do all of that, and then you do the work and you come back. And now if you realize what you produce today, it's same effective, or if you can blend it, then you had finally the chance. The corona forced you to try out the totally other alternative. And if you're clever enough, you even take the two and you create a blended format and advance yourself from the traditional way of working to a new modern way of organization. Bigger companies who, let's say Volkswagen of this world, and I don't know, companies with a couple of 100,000 people and 10,000 and 5,000 of people, they have tasted the water, so to speak, and will definitely do some modifications and arrangements, but they will have to go back to the normal, obviously. And what you said, I think, is not applicable to everyone. So you and I maybe enjoyed it so much that I'm also sitting here and say like, shit, what do I do when the corona time is over? I don't want to go out, only maybe for that ice cream, but I feel okay. But there are others who they are dying to go out again. So this, what you said, is very personal, is not to be generalized. But the fear issue, what you mentioned, is worth discovering and go into depth of it a bit more, which I gladly do for one of our next meetings. I can do that. It's a good topic for itself. Had to do with the transformation and had to do with the feeling of, you know, resisting a change and resisting a transformation. And and as you rightly say, we just started to get comfort in our chair, and then we have to change it again. But we know it will never be the same again because we have seen what should not have been seen, so to speak. We cannot hide ourselves from it. So there will be a conflict, in fact. It's a good concept. Let me give you the couple of other tips or concepts I had put down on paper for you to give it some thoughts, as our time is coming to end, kind of. So here is what I made note of. I realized, and I'm sure you guys had probably similar experiences, so think about it. I realized something which has been raised is the number of meetings I'm running. Because we are not together, the chances that we run some virtual meetings is like huge. So that is one thing. So that's definitely chewing up a lot of my time. But at the same time, the time I'm spending on a certain task has been fragmented. Because there is no long stamina for us to work together for long hours in one room and do our job, and then at the same time, every now and again have a question or whatever, we kind of throw at one another work in smaller pieces. So time is fragmented during this crisis, which makes lots of little bubbles happening throughout the day, which then needs setting priorities. So I started to think myself, okay, what do I do that? And I created for myself 2 models, in fact. Let me very quickly draw maybe the 2 pictures very dirty on a piece of paper and show it to you. That would help. So I gave myself 3 portions. Work, process, relax. So take a look at this. You see that? No, yeah, you see that? So W is standing for work, P standing for process, and R for relaxation. So I thought this would be one of the way in terms of cycling where I would create my my work process to go, meaning I get a little bubble of work, little piece of fragmented work. Let's say now I sit with you half an hour, discuss something. After this is done and I switch off, I take myself 10 minutes to process it and say, okay, what did I do? I look at the notes I took, work with it. And then before I go and start with the next task, I take 10 minutes off. Get up, go, watch out the window, do nothing, shake it off, get myself a tea, and then I start the new task. So, and then I do this cycle of work it out, process it, switch off, switch on again, and go the next cycle. I loop it throughout the entire work so that I can deal with these small bubbles of work. Or if that's like too many work and too little pieces for you, I thought I'd do the process differently and horizontally. And I thought of going with this picture. So I take my 3, 4, 5 little pieces of tasks and work, I thought to myself, and deal with them, say 4 times half an hour, 4 times 20 minutes, 10 times 10 minutes, something where I still can have an overview about and it's not getting too much for the processing portion afterwards. I do them, takes me, I never would suggest to go beyond 60 minutes. Do it 40 minutes, 45 minutes. 45 minutes would be super intelligent. I do that portion, then I stop, I process and reflect them so that I know why did I do it? What to do next with it? Do I have to send it to someone? So if, for example, it's a work I have to send to a client, I don't do the emailing then. I do the work first, then I do the processing. Then I take a bigger piece, a chunk to, I called it for myself or for you guys. Let me go to my original note. I called it manage your energy. So that's how I called it. Observe and include others, I said as well, because it's not only me. If I'm doing this concept and I'm producing 1 hour of task and then I throw it at Marta and Lapo, and then I say, okay, now I go processing and take my rest and fuck you, so do whatever you want to do with it, then you are doomed. So I collapsed your day because of this unexpected massive amount of work. So I definitely have to consider you. I have to observe what am I causing with this shooting out, my job is done type of things, and include you in my thinking. So that's what I thought. And I did these 2 samples of dealing with the time. Asked myself, so which one is better? And I realized, okay, the only way I can say that for every individual is to keep track of my productive times. And then I can answer that very quickly. If I'm a day person, night person, evening person, there is a fact that you all are working right now more than ever before. If you're not doomed and in your own sadness and are just drinking beer and wine and smoking ganja to forget yourself, if you're still like, alive, you're doing more, even if you don't feel it, because there is no real time you can drop the pen and drive back home. There is no drive back home. You are home. So you are practically doing more. Maybe not productive enough, but you're spending more time on it. Therefore, let's find out where is the most productive time slot of yourself. And that is not much in a day. You don't have more than 4 to 5 hours real productive time. Figure out when that is and try to do those capsules of work during that, and open the rest of it to your home. If you're alone, and if you are one of those who were actually spending the time at work because you had friends around, this is the time you want to interact with your friends. Call them, video call them, do all of that stuff. If you're a family person, this is the time to spend with your family. It might never come again. It will never come again. Think about that. Life is based on moments, and moments are always authentic because it's now, and when it's done, it's done. No way back. So what you have, you have. So if Giordano suddenly, as an entrepreneur and super nerd, was working his ass off every time, and now he's got time with his baby, enjoy it, man. This might come never again. You were actually having given this luxury of having more time with your baby. Baby time is never coming back as well. So I know it's hard, but enjoy it. So see the best in everything, and then you can make something out of it. Okay, a last thing I have, it's not counterproductive for the employers, but it's effective, is really important. There is one skill you can train during these days. Say no. Train yourself in being able to say no, because people don't know how your daily rhythm is looking like. They don't know how occupied you are. Don't forget you have the responsibility of achieving certain goals. If you are integrated in a system, in a team, people are counting on you. That's obviously okay and real. But you are in exceptional situations and people don't know about the details of your up and downs. So being able to set boundaries and say enough is really important. And that goes for everywhere. For your children who demand everything from you, and you have to cook and clean and teach, homeschool them, and you do work, and your girlfriend and your lover and boyfriend and whoever and your fans and whatsoever. There are people who everyone wants something from you, and you need to put a boundary. Otherwise, you are juiced out and you go energy-wise bankrupt. So this is right now, this crisis is the perfect time for burnouts. You wouldn't believe, but this is the perfect burnout time. So don't let it happen to you. Practice the saying no. Later, when the doors open again and you go out, it's good to have skilled up yourself in this talent. It's not a talent, but you know, in that skill. Okay, then yeah, and the last thing I wrote down here, which I wanted to tell you as my last word, is I wrote down here, result counts more than the time. So you are not obliged to donate 8 hours of your day to your clients, to your team, to your employers, to your family, but you are responsible for what you have shaken hand upon and agreed to. You're expected to do your share, so do your share. The how is your design. So design to ensure that you deliver your promise and your word, and then it's all good. So result counts, not the time. Don't manage your time, manage the tasks and the delivery. That would be more effective. Okay, so I went 50 minutes above because people started to come later and we started later. So I hope that's still okay for everyone.
Perfectly.
I will see you on Monday, and I have a list from Silvio what to talk about, but I would probably even go with the fear of what comes next. What Lapo mentioned, that's a good point to discuss. It's nice for me to consolidate my thoughts on it and share with you as well. I hope you will like it. Let's do that this way.
Thank you, Jam.
So if there is no questions, I can only wish you a super happy weekend.
Thank you, Jam.
Thank you,
You
Jam.
too. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.